This is Canada. Maple syrup in my cabin, say, ay, kick your ass on hockey season, ay.
So good morning and welcome to my garage. Yesterday, Donald Trump declared economic war in Canada, and today, Canadian politicians are responding with a counteroffensive. Clearly, these are uncertain times, but there are a few things that we do know. One is I and you are going to fight like hell to make sure that Canada remains a sovereign country. We also know that Donald Trump is unpredictable. He's like a pilot flying over the North Pole and relying on a magnetic compass to get his bearings. He's erratic, just like the compass. He's unpredictable, like the compass, and that airplane is going to run out of gas before it can find a landing strip. So let's not go down that path. Let's not buy a ticket to go on that airplane. So what can we do? Well, it's time to pull our socks, grab the bull by the horns, and start doing some serious investment in our infrastructure. There are 4 areas that I think we need to focus on. First, we need to build a pan-Canadian logistics corridor. Second, we need to revitalize Canada Post. Thirdly, we need to beef up the Canadian military. And finally, we need to secure the border between Canada and the US. So let's get back to the first one. We need to build a pan-Canadian logistics corridor. What does that mean? Well, it means that it's essential that we build an infrastructure and a logistics corridor so that we can carry trade among provinces and reach our 2 coasts. Our roads, railways, pipelines, and ports have to be redesigned, developed. We need to modernize them, and we need to automate them so they can become unprecedented models of efficiencies. So now let's talk about Canada Post. We need to revitalize them. We need to give them a new mission. They need to be able to deliver goods from wherever they come from to Canadian households. So how should we do that? Well, first of all, I would say that Canada Post should be split into 2 distinct entities, one dedicated to postal services and another focused on retail commerce with a national distribution network that could and should compete with Amazon. Canada Post must be mandated to connect Canadian industry to Canadian households. Now let's talk about the Canadian Armed Forces. Everybody agrees they need to be modernized, but we need to do more with them. We need to make sure that they become the catalyst for innovation in Canada. We also need to recognize their contribution value to the educational system, and we need to fund that mission, which they do so well. Finally, we need to seal our borders. We need to make sure that arms, drugs, illegal immigrants stop flowing from the US to Canada. Yes, you heard me right. We need to protect ourselves from the US. So I'm sure many of you are listening to me right now and they're saying, this guy is a pipe dreamer and his plans are simply unaffordable. Aside from the fact that I'm talking about our national security, our sovereignty, and our way of life, which should not be negotiable, the reality is it is affordable. Just join me in my next podcast where I'm going to tell you how I think we should do this. So please subscribe, hit the like button, and join me in my next podcast.
Let the music play, celebrate.